All right, you're still watching Ways now. Even before Shakespeare, lawyers have routinely gotten a bad rap for the kind of work that they do. Opened as the sum of all evil, and often the subject of some very unflattering metaphors. Over time, lawyers have become the butt of some of the most well-known jokes around. But lawyers also serve very important purposes. At their best, lawyers are helpful and useful to the society at large. That's why Love Your Lawyer Day was created, to help you to love your lawyer. Without them, some things cannot happen. So.
Well, I should have sent me this so that this morning I'll give my brother a hug.
Oh, he's a lawyer.
In case you need anything, come. Don't look for my trouble. But, but you're right. You know, lawyers they still have it bad because, you know, the people that defend evil people too are lawyers. So what do you expect?
All sides.
All sides. And, you know, they don't actually, I think they have apathy for these things. You know, it's a job to them. And you that have emotional feelings, you just feel how can, you know. So I understand why people would want to see lawyers like that. But at the end of the day, when you need them, you always need a good one to be on your side.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. But I mean, the only thing I'll add to that is this day might not be so significant in other countries as it will be in Nigeria. In Nigeria, even a bus conductor has a lawyer. It's in this country, I need that people just throw the phrase around. I'm just going to call my lawyer. Or I'm about to go into a meeting with my lawyer. I'm thinking, am I a business? Am I a corporation? But everybody, you know, lawyer and doctor in Nigeria, they're the same. Everybody got them.
I didn't think people were serious having like personal lawyers.
Even if you don't have them, so you know, it's one of those things that gives a sense of importance and prestige. You know,
people
you have
say,
a lawyer.
You know, maybe because I work in the customer space, I hear it all the time. You
Oh.
hear from my lawyer.
Oh, now I understand.
Why everybody got to have a lawyer? I'm not a criminal. I don't believe I run. I'm like, why?
Oh, now I understand.
Everybody has a lawyer. My doctor. My doctor says, and it's so personalized. You know, it's
but the one that everybody has is my pastor. Okay, moving on. Who are we starting with?
Who can be a lawyer of sorts? But I'm not
I'm not
going to.
True. All right, so lawyers, we love you. Keep doing the great job you're doing. All right, so who are we starting with? Uti, let me come to you. Your story.
I love my story. I read this story this morning and my mouth was like, and of course, people do not take. Nigerians, you need to read stories. First of all, let's not just read the headline.
But the headline is sensational, you must agree.
So that, I mean, the media is here to sell papers. They're here to sell the news. And they've got to catch your attention. So the headline did its job. But people, the devil is in the detail. So please read. Now, my headline says, CBN spends 58.6 billion, that's B with a billion with a B, boy, to print 2.5 billion naira. Now, please, people, he said naira notes, not naira. Because I spent the whole day laughing today. People have abused. Do they think we're mad? Do they think we're crazy? So this story basically is a bit of a good one, and it's a mixed one. So when we talk about cashless, this is one of the reasons why we need to pay attention. So it says the Central Bank of Nigeria spent the sum of 58.618 billion to print 2.518 billion naira notes. The total value of those naira notes is actually almost 1.1 trillion in 2020. This is actually a reduction from the cost in 2019, where 75 billion was actually spent. So we're going in the right direction. We're showing that our cashless policies mean that we're printing less money. But overall, the thing that I think was a bit of a contradiction for me was that when you go further into the story, it talks about the currency in circulation. There are still more naira notes in circulation this year than there were last year. So there's still a lot. There's still a long way to go.
Have a part to play in that.
There was inflation at one part where it was talking about, it wasn't Forex, there was something else. Currency processed, I think it was, where it sort of mentioned that. But the story is an interesting one. People just need to read it and not get thrown off by the headlines. But the fact is we're spending a lot on printing these notes. The cashless policy, it has so many benefits, right? And I know that financial inclusion, we still talk about people who are underbanked or unbanked, as the case may be. But again, all the entrepreneurs out there, this is a road in for you to find a product that sells. I mean, our unicorns, Flutterwave, Paystack, these are all companies that are trying to solve financial solutions in a cashless way. So
Absolutely.
I think our story is kind of related, and thank you for taking that story, because I also, saw the way people were jumping up and down. I usually am very slow to comment with all these things, very, very slow to comment on this. But then I was like, just as Uti said, you read it and then you have no understanding. Yet the advocacy for the things. So
thank you. Twitter and even the comments on this.
It was crazy. The comments were crazy.
And I hope that someone has shown some sort of enlightenment to people.
They will listen to Uti.
People don't want to hear.
Right, exactly. So my story kind of laced with some financial literacy is that CBN issues approval in principle to MT and Airtel for PSB services, that is Payment Service Bank. And why this is interesting to me is because it is in my industry, my 9 to 5. Okay, so, and all is in a bid to, not just expand, but solve this problem of financial inclusion. Now, why, I look at it in two sides, from two angles. Number one, what happened to banks? So traditional banks really have to wake up. Because in as much as we are preaching financial inclusion, which, I think the number of mobile phone users are more than the number of banked individuals. But I think that they will still struggle for the same needs. It is the same people that are banked. So this is my problem. I really hope that, granting them this, so this is in principle, they will have to fulfill some obligations to be able to get the operating license. But I really hope that it will spread and it will really help the issue that we have with identification and all that. But will it really? For me, it's in stratas and it's in levels, because for us to really cure financial inclusion, we now have to solve that identity problem. But for you to have a registered SIM, you must have some sort of identity. So it's different layers for me. One is for the financial institutions to know that the market is it shrinking? The one that all of us are dragging is shrinking, but there are opportunities if we really want to do financial inclusion. And then again, maybe this problem of identity or something will be solved. But it's great news for the populace, maybe not for some people, but for financial inclusion, it's great news, and I hope it progresses from here.
I see it as great news, but also in my mind, all I hear was down.
It's done, really. Because it's done. The people that are eating from this market, they are going to be plenty.
They swear.
Think it's time. I want to be an entrepreneur in the financial sector.
I tell you, that's the business. But let me quickly take my story. So, there's been a lot of rumors going all over the place saying that the vice president owns the building, the 21-story building that collapsed on Gerald Road in Ikoyi. So this is just to, the vice president is saying that this building, he's not the owner of the collapsed building. And this was said through his media aide, that's Laolu Akande. In a statement today, he also debunked the report that his boss intervened with the regulatory authorities in Lagos State to unseal the property, because they had said the property was not unsealed by Lagos State government. Instead, that order came from the federal government. So there's still so much coming out of this collapsed building. As of today, 40 people are dead, right? 40 are dead and many injured. So we are hoping that the real situation comes out when this panel that was set up by the Lagos State government truly do their work and investigate. But this is just to put it out there that the vice president has come out to debunk that ownership of that structure, and saying that there was no such thing about him authorizing or the federal government authorizing them unsealing the building. All right, so we're going to take a break now. We're discussing businesses and delivery of excellent services. But stay with us. We'll be right back.